Now, there's no doubt about it that by far, one of the fan-favorite characters is indeed Anakin Skywalker of the entirety of the Skywalker saga. He is the center of it all. George Lucas even put it forward there that it was always his intention to make Anakin, the father of Luke, really the core of the story. And what John and Dave are about to do is that they're going to succeed that story even further, not just with the Ahsoka series, but also with The Mandalorian Season 4 and other Star Wars projects out there. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, with Hayden back and how he signed a multi-show contract deal, by the way, this really gives the fans a lot more to look forward to when it comes to the character of Anakin, Vader, and of course, all of the other characters that are associated with the Skywalkers again. And ever since he was involved in the Kenobi series, I've had no complaints about Hayden's acting in there. I thought he did a phenomenal job. The only criticism that I had with that show was the writing and the directing. That was it. You know, there were a lot of lore choices in there that made no sense to me, but Hayden did a solid job. I have no complaints with him, and I think that he's got a bright future ahead of him with the Star Wars franchise by signing this multi-show contract deal. So that brings us to exactly what's going on between Favreau and Filoni, and one key thing that they did that is considered to be something that's going to leave the fans talking for the years to come. And this, of course, involves fan-favorite characters like Vader, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Ezra Bridger. Let's tap right into it. Now, with that all being done and said, alright, the Ahsoka series is going to be heavily centered on the WBW, the World Between Worlds. Now, with John and Dave heavily busy with the Ahsoka show and trying to complete the show on schedule to get it released by summer of next year, it's noted that one part of the show that was filmed is set to make the fans go into pure excitement that took them roughly 2 weeks to film. Now, it's described that one major scene for the Ahsoka series that they filmed was the recreation of Ahsoka and Darth Vader fighting inside of the Sith Temple, just like in Star Wars Rebels. Here, the scene is entirely recreated for live-action purposes to open up the story of Ahsoka Tano. The newly filmed scene involves Ezra Bridger saving Ahsoka through the World Between Worlds, just like in the animated show, and that this is how that realm will be introduced into the actual Ahsoka series. Hayden Christensen was involved in the suit as Darth Vader and comes back as Anakin Skywalker for a couple of moments in the actual scene. Now, this scene is said to be the momentary return of Anakin Skywalker inside of the Sith Temple when fighting Ahsoka. Now, let me just pause right here for a second. Now, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, there is a very spectacular scene in Star Wars Rebels in which Ahsoka does indeed fight her master Darth Vader, and as she's fighting him, she literally does what Kenobi did in the series by splitting his helmet into two, taking off a portion of the actual face structure of the helmet, revealing Anakin Skywalker's actual eye and mouth and nose, and he returns as Anakin for a moment. Now, this is exactly what Favreau and Filoni are set out to recreate in live-action form for the Ahsoka Tano series. However, it's going to go beyond that, and we're going to tap into that in just a second or two. The thing about this, too, that a lot of fans need to be aware of is that we have multiple actresses portraying Ahsoka in the actual series. Now, we actually hinted at this a couple of months ago, and they are going to be doing that in the actual show, not just for Season 1, but also a pitch for Season 2 that John and Dave are now bringing up to the Disney higher-ups, right? The board of directors. Now, the thing about Hayden coming back as Anakin and Vader is amazing because, number one, Ahsoka's going to have a superior budget in comparison to the Kenobi series, and number two is that Hayden got a lot more lines of dialogue as both Anakin and Vader in the Ahsoka show. And that really is going to be a very interesting side of the story. Now, bringing us to the next section here, alright? However, this entire scene is set to show a different side of the moment where it will show what Vader experienced when Ahsoka gets pulled through the WBW, and after. It's in this moment that Anakin returns once again and snaps out of being Darth Vader for the first time behind the scenes of what happened after his duel against Ahsoka Tano. Hayden did provide multiple lines of dialogue this time around for the scene, and of course Iman Esfandi had a special moment as Ezra with Ahsoka in this actual show. Now, the thing about we are realizing now is that Ezra Bridger is going to be the center of many upcoming Mandoverse projects. It's not just for Ahsoka, it's also going to be for The Mandalorian Season 4, the planned Star Wars Mandalore series, as we talked about, that was initially called the Bo-Katan TV show, but they renamed it into just simply Star Wars Mandalore. It's going to be like the Avengers of Star Wars, basically. And what I like about this entire scenario, and how it's going to take place in the very beginning of the show, is how it's a recreation of something so powerful that Dave Filoni created all those years ago, right? Between Ahsoka and Vader and Rebels, it was so well written, even for an animated show, that it really gained so much momentum to the point where almost every fan out there has seen this moment, and if you have not, I do suggest that you guys go ahead and look it up right now. You know, just look up Ahsoka fights Vader in the Sith Temple. It's a spectacular lightsaber duel, and the Kenobi series really borrowed a lot of elements from that, by the way. Now, the thing about Hayden coming back as Anakin and Vader again, alright, particularly Anakin Skywalker again in this moment, is this is basically a reverse of what we saw in the Kenobi series, right? In the Kenobi show, they give us like an alternate version where Kenobi splits the helmet and Darth Vader remains as is. In the Star Wars Rebels episode, Ahsoka literally splits the helmet, but he returns as Anakin. And that is a very special moment, and they want to actually revitalize it for the purposes of live action. Now, once again, the reason why I think a lot of fans are going to enjoy this is because this is going to be the very first time that we're going to be able to see a Sith temple in all its glory in live action form. Not just a Sith temple, but also a lightsaber duel that encases all of it. And I think that's going to be the big moment for the Ahsoka show. Now, the thing about this too that I think a lot of fans need to be aware of is the fact that George Lucas was also involved in calling the shots on how some of the lines of dialogue were going to be, you know, portrayed by Hayden and Rosario, and even Iman Esfandi doing the World Between Worlds sequence as Ezra Bridger. There's a lot of work that's being poured in to this particular moment that I really do believe is going to land itself as one of the most iconic and legendary scenes in live-action Star Wars. So anyways, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.